First of all, I'd like to apologize for our delay. I know we are well underway into the season, but we are here. I am with Ed Whitten. This is the first show of the Show Me Some TDs podcast this season in 2024. Ed Whitten, what's up, my friend?
Oh, man, so happy to be back here. And not only back here doing this, back here doing this with you, my guy.
My dude, so exciting. Man, first of all, look, I say this to everybody. Like, I love football. I'm a football junkie.
Yep.
But I think it's like to a fault. And I kind of explained this to you earlier today at work.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, man, I love football so much, and like we overlook some of the dirtbag shit that happens in the NFL all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I'm bringing up here right before we get into any of the NFL stuff is Von Miller was suspended for, what was it, NFL breaking the policy, misconduct, something like that, right? It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. But we overlook this so much. Like, how many times do you hear? And before I even get into that part, the NFL, they put out something like, "We don't want you guys to talk about what he did, why he's being suspended, or what the misconduct was." You had to search. You had to do a deep dive. I think Bleacher Report had one, but ESPN had nothing. NFL.com had nothing.
Yep.
And we overlooked this stuff so much because we love football so much. I mean, how often do we hear about these NFL players just doing dirt bad shit?
It's so much, man, and it's sometimes it really sucks to see as a football junkie or as a football fan. Von Miller being as great a player as he is, having that personal misconduct, beating his pregnant wife back in 2023, regardless of what time it is. These guys need to learn to kind of stop doing that stuff. Two, deal with the consequences. Him being suspended, 4 games into the season. One, NFL needs to crack down on that a little bit sooner than that, and two, it needs to honestly just have consultations, have therapists out there for these guys to kind of get that stuff together. There's no room for it in the NFL.
Because it's wild, because we hear about it all the time. I mean, look, Kareem Hunt, a few years back, he gets kicked off of Cincinnati, or Kansas City, right? He gets out of there. He's back with them now, but he does some dirtbag shit, and we're just like, no big deal. We keep coming back to football, like no matter what. Like, I don't agree with any of this shit, but you know what? I like every Sunday. You know how much I'm paying for an NFL ticket right now? It's fucking nuts, dude. But it's crazy because like even the speaking of the Chiefs, Rice, there was video evidence of him like leaving the scene of the crash, and the NFL's like, we're not so sure.
It's still investigating.
Yeah, and dude, it's scripted. He got hurt because he's about to get in trouble. I'm telling you, it's scripted.
Yeah.
But again, like you hear about all of this stuff, and Tim, he's one of our new members in our fantasy football league, the Show Me Some TDs league.
Welcome, Tim.
Tim, welcome. Amazing taco sauce, whatever it was delicious, whatever. He's a great cook. But he said something like, you have to have that mentality to play football. You have to have that kill or be killed. And I agreed with that. But man, there's also a point where you have to turn it off.
Yep.
You step on the field, it's football time.
Yep.
Girlfriends don't matter. Homework didn't matter when I was playing in high school. Mom didn't matter. It was football time. But as soon as you step off, reality hits.
Yeah.
And some of these dudes, they can't turn that shit off, and it blows my mind. And we support it all the way.
The fault is that they think that they're bigger than the game, and that's just not the case. But what is bigger than the game is just making sure that their families are well taken care of, and they're not getting put into situations where they might get beat or might get into some trouble with that type of stuff. It's just no room for
pregnant girlfriend. That's insane. It's insane. She had marks around her neck. Okay. I'm just saying. This is all I'm saying is like, this is dirtbaggery. We wouldn't tolerate this like if it was somebody in our field or any other profession.
Yeah.
But since they're really good and they make tons of money, at the NFL is $1 billion industry. We're just like, I guess suspend them for 4 games. And guess what? There's gonna be Von Miller jersey still sold. Like, look at Deshaun Watson. Sorry, I'm going on a rant on these dirtbags. What he had 37 allegations, or I'm just I'm exaggerating a little bit, but 37 sexual assault allegations, and like they're still coming out. And he got, what they rewarded him. They're like, we're gonna give you the biggest guaranteed contract of all time. It's absolutely wild. So sorry about that rant, but I had to get that. That was been on my head. It's been on my mind. But man, I really want to talk about some of the surprising things in the NFL. We've gone through 4 weeks. And one of my absolute surprises that I didn't see coming You get rid of a Pro Bowler, your quarterback that has been your franchise quarterback. He goes to another team because you know what? Bottom line is you didn't want to pay him,
Right.
and then he's gonna go to a team that that's actually set up pretty well to do well right now to win now. Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
They get a discount. Sam Darnold. They drafted a quarterback. They get J.J. McCarthy. That's who they wanted to draft. Yeah. And you know what? McCarthy gets hurt, and Sam Darnold is in the running for the MVP. Who saw that coming? Not me. What? He's getting paid like $10 million. Discount Kirk Cousins, and you know what? He's absolutely taking full advantage of his opportunity right now.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Vikings, I'm happy that he fell in my lap. I didn't expect that whatsoever at all. You know, again, I understand, like Pro Bowler leaving the team. You know, honestly, sometimes you got to weigh out the options. Are you willing to pay him? Are you in a position to draft a high-profile quarterback? J.J. McCarthy was coming into a good situation. I know he had some struggles in the preseason, so really it was going to be, left to be seen if it was going to work out for them or not. Ultimately, Kirk Cousins going over to Atlanta is good, but you got to think about it, though. He was coming off of an injury. He's going to come in, and we were going to see how things went. I think it was a ACL. Was it ACL?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Coming off an ACL injury going into this year. So, and with that, I mean, nonetheless, with the whole J.J. McCarthy thing going out, Sam Darnold, man, I'm going to say it out right here. And I'm a supporter of him right now, USC guy, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I know you don't like that. But nonetheless, like, Sam Darnold was a bum. This is his fourth team that he's coming into. He hasn't been anywhere relative to the stats that he's doing right now, which, by the way, is 11 touchdowns tied for first, right, in the NFL, 3 interceptions, 932 yards tied for ninth, 73.5 QB rating, which is good for third. It's just not what I was expecting. Question is it the Justin Jefferson effect? Is he just in a good situation?
Well, I love that question because in fantasy football, first we were concerned about Justin Jefferson if you're going to draft him because of the contract situation. Yeah. But a big deal about him not drafting him was because you're like J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold, not great options. That's what we thought at the beginning, like on fantasy football. We're like, he's going to take a hit, production-wise, fantasy football-wise. Yep. But Justin Jefferson, I believe, is still averaging 20 points in fantasy football with Sam Darnold. Right now, to be honest, it's kind of tough to say that he's not the NFL MVP. Yeah. Like they are 4-0. The only other team that's 4-0 is the Chiefs. Yep. And I'm like, man, I don't know. And I'm going to be honest, I honestly think with the Minnesota Vikings, they're probably the best team in football right now. I get it. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback. Yeah. He's the best player in the NFL. But the defense for the Minnesota Vikings, so I wrote this down for you guys. Yeah. They're giving up less than 15 points a game.
Wow.
They have the league, they lead the league in sacks with 17. I mean, and they have 10 takeaways this year. And this is through only 4 weeks. And then they're kind of piecing things together. They had a good team. They wanted to build with McCarthy, but then they signed Aaron Jones, who, Green Bay was like, dude, we ain't paying you shit. See you later. Like, good luck. And he's 8th in the NFL in rushing. He's getting almost 100 scrimmage yards a game. So I'm going to be honest, the Minnesota Vikings, to me, are the best team in the NFL. But, I mean, again, I'd love to see that matchup between, right now, because they're playing at a high level against the Chiefs, where the Chiefs, they're not playing that great.
Right.
I mean, if you look at their matchups here, and I wrote this down for you too, they are 4-0, to be fair.
Yes.
They had the opening game against the Ravens. They won 27-20. Mm-hmm. They played the Bengals, and the Bengals are 1-3. They are not doing very good. They got the first win over the Panthers, but they won that game 26-25. They beat the Falcons, and yes, that was fucking pass interference. Yes. They beat them 22-17. These are all one-score games, and then they were actually down to the Chargers 10-0, and then they did come back, but they beat the Chargers 17-10. Yeah. So these have been all close games, and some of these games they absolutely could have lost.
Yeah, still not a big margin to kind of win by, and you might have a case for it. As controversial as it is to say that the Minnesota Vikings might be better than the Chiefs coming off a Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowl season, trying to three-peat. I hate to say it, but Sam Darnold has been a better QB than Patrick Mahomes has been this season. So,
damn.
And honestly, like, and here's the thing, I think we all watch the Chiefs when they play. We may not enjoy watching them. Some of us might be over it, Taylor Swift effect, whatever the case may be. But
I hate watching the Chiefs.
Biggest thing that I am a big fan of, from coming from a different team, watching them, is I love Steve Spagnuolo. I love his defensive schemes. He knows right when to put the pressure, the perfect timing for them to be able to capitalize. And I think, honestly, the defense is what's carrying them through these games.
I mean, it's pretty crazy to see how good their defense is. They are absolutely shutting people down. Now, another huge surprise, and I hate to do this to you, my friend, but it's how bad the Jaguars have been. They are the only team that does not have a win in the NFL right now.
Crazy. Only team. That is insane, man.
It's really bad. It's really bad to watch. You know, you draft players like Trevor Lawrence on fantasy football, Travis Etienne, even Christian Kirk. I mean, I picked him up a waiver because people were dropping his ass.
Yeah.
And now he's starting to pick it up a little bit. But I mean, they are atrocious to watch right now, my friend.
It's crazy to say. You know, slow start is, you know, I don't even think that defines, you know, how bad we're going into it right now. It's tough to see because, you know, obviously I'm a big Jaguars fan, right? Diehard Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Not because I'm from there, just because I used to play with them on Madden back in the day. But I think the biggest thing far from it is that we're just not connecting. Our chemistry isn't where you would think it would be coming into, you know, a fourth Trevor Lawrence season, second behind Doug Peterson, thinking that the schemes are going to be a little bit better, both offensively and defensively. Getting a new defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, who was highly touted coming over from the Falcons. I mean, like, you know, you would think that things would start piecing together, but something's just not clicking right. And it has to do a lot, honestly, I hate to say it, with Trevor Lawrence. You know, there's some things that he's just not doing. I was looking at some stats for Trevor Lawrence and seeing what wasn't translating. He has 4 touchdowns on the year, 1 interception, 729 yards, tied for 23rd. You're coming off a big contract that you just got in the offseason. You have to perform, and that's not happening. Granted, he's not the only contract that big contract guy that got something in the offseason that isn't performing. You got guys like Tua that, you know, unfortunately Tua's had another concussion, right?
Learn how to slide, brother.
Can't perform off that. Justin Herbert, you know, kind of has a lingering ankle injury, but right now the Chargers are a run-heavy team, so you're not going to be able to perform there. Jordan Love coming off an injury, you know, he had a great first game, you know, MIA the 2 games after that, and then a good 4th game coming into it, even if he did
4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah, it was crazy to see, but something's just not translating over with them, and I'd like to see what's going on. I dug a little deeper into it. You know, me and the Jags guy, right? I was digging into it a little bit.
Of course.
So we have 71 total first downs versus opponents averaging 86 total first downs against us. You know, fact of the matter is, you know, you got to get the ball up the field, and that's not what we're doing right now. 11 of 44 for third down efficiency for a whopping 25% conversion rate on third downs. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to win us any games. 13 sacks for 114 yards lost. You know,
they can't keep them upright. What are you going to do?
Can't do it. You know, we need to make some upgrades in our offensive line, but altogether they need to play better. And then, you know, we have a total in this 0-4, we have a total of 60 points, which is averaging 15 points per game versus opponents scoring against us 109 total points, an average of 27.3. Granted, most of it came from the Bills, but nonetheless, you can't get players like that not on a Monday Night Football.
Oh, they did them absolutely terrible. But yeah, I've said this before. I said this last year. I truly believe the quarterback position is the hardest and most important position in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's that. But now I'm really starting to question it.
Yep.
And I'm glad you brought up the money.
Yep.
So I wrote down the top players in the NFL that contracts. And so this is average salary, right? Without guaranteed money or what they're actually getting paid every single year. The number 1 player that's getting paid the most money is Dak Prescott. What does he do? He goes to the playoffs and he loses every single year.
Good point.
The next person just signed his new contract is Jordan Love. Yeah, he had a really good season last year, but he really hasn't proven a goddamn thing.
Not yet.
Trevor Lawrence is number 3 at $55 million average. He's actually tied with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow at least got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you know what? But now look what happens. They're 1-3, and they don't look great. Yeah. The only team they beat was the Panthers with Andy Dalton as their quarterback.
Good point.
And Andy Dalton, you know what? He did fine. He came in. You know, he got the Panthers a win, which, you know, the Jaguars have not done yet.
Oh, man.
And then Tua's number 5 with $53.1 million. Jared Goff, he's gone to a Super Bowl. I believe he went with the Rams. Maybe not, but he's gone deep. He's a veteran quarterback.
Yeah.
Like you said, Justin Herbert is averaging $52.5 million. And then this is the first one that's actually worth any kind of money. It's Lamar Jackson at $52 million. Sure. And at least he's won 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
The next person is Jalen Hurts. He did make the Super Bowl, but he lost. The next one is Kyler Murray at $46.1 million. And then Deshaun Watson averaging $46 million. There's a name that I haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
There's Kirk Cousins. This is number 12 on the list at $45 million. And then at number 13 is Patrick Mahomes around $45 million.
That's great.
I mean, so like I really think like these teams are really struggling because the quarterback position is so valuable. It's so important.
Yeah.
But they're paying them so much money that they're handcuffing themselves on what they can actually build. And like if you build a roster.
Yeah.
If you can't draft and develop players, and have them do good on their rookie deals, when you're paying these quarterbacks that kind of money, it really handcuffs you and the roster you can build. Like it's crazy. And I mean, all of those quarterbacks, again, the only one that won a Super Bowl was Patrick Mahomes, and he's the number 13 highest paid quarterback. Like per average.
When you put it that way, it's really crazy to see that. And granted, I could say maybe a third of those quarterbacks are even like really efficient in what they're doing and really making a huge impact on their teams, at least this season so far.
And to be fair, Justin Herbert had this is his third head coach, fourth offensive coordinator. Right. I'm just saying, Herbert, get healthy, man. I mean, they're building it differently. Like with the new coach, they drafted a lineman the year before. They drafted a lineman this year, who Joe Alt, I think, is going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be a starting tackle in the NFL for 10 plus years, without a doubt. But yeah, that shit's been absolutely wild to see how much these dudes get paid. And speaking of high paid babies, we got Davante Adams asking for a trade. The Raiders said we're not ruling it out. A couple hours later, Davante Adams is like, yeah, give me the fuck out of here. The Raiders are trash. It's because Aiden O'Connell was not their quarterback, man. It's because Aiden O'Connell was not the starting quarterback. He wanted him, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, with all jokes aside, besides the Jaguars, right? Who would you want, or who could you see, or what would be the perfect fit for Davante Adams? Like, what team would be the best for him?
Well, kind of touching base on a little bit of handcuffing yourselves with the money that these quarterbacks are making. There's really only 3 teams that have the money to be able to pay them, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
One of them being the Jets, one of them being the Saints, one of them being the Niners. And that's prior to Brock Purdy getting a contract next season or on the offseason. We talked about that a little bit in the office. But realistically, I think his preferred destinations are the Saints and are the Jets. And, funny enough, 2 players that he's played with before in Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. So, I'm curious to see how it plays out. I feel like, if the script sticks to the script, like the way NFL is doing it, he's probably going to end up going to the Jets. I'd hate to see it, but I'd also like to see a change of scenery for Davante Adams.
And I'm going to be pissed off because I got Garrett Wilson, who I don't think has scored more than, 16 points his fantasy football season, not one game. And that's definitely going to hurt his numbers. So I'm going to be pissed off about that. I have Chris Olave in another league, so I don't want him to go to the Saints. And I don't think it makes sense to go to the 49ers because you just paid Ayuk. Now he's averaging $30 million a season, per average. And then whatever Debo is making as well. And then you're absolutely right. You have to pay your quarterback. Right? And it is Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Like, I don't think they're going to even give any kind of notion or look anywhere else than Brock Purdy, and they're going to make sure he gets paid. So, I mean, ideally, and one thing I've seen, and it doesn't make sense, is the Chiefs. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. I don't want to see a three-peat. Like, I've seen a three-peat before with the Lakers, and that broke my goddamn heart. And I don't want to see that shit again. I just don't. I don't want to see that. And you know what? The Chiefs, they don't deserve him. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, call me a hater if you want to, but I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs win. I want to see a new team win. And, there's a lot of good top teams that are in the running for that. I know that, this past Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions, making a case for, potential Super Bowl, opportunities. And I'd like to see somebody else other than Pat Mahomes win.
I mean, I just don't. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it again. But to be fair, I do think if they win, I think Travis Kelce, it's done for him. I think if he wins a three-peat, he's going to go live his life. He's going to be on tour doing his performance with fucking Tay-Tay. But, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, I am sick of it. I mean, one player I really like on the Chiefs is Pacheco. But he's been hurt, but he's a baller. Like, that's somebody who just plays hard. He runs hard.
Yep.
That's somebody you can cheer for, but nobody else on that goddamn team I can cheer for. Like, I just can't stand them.
And he's not beating his wife or nothing like that.
I mean, that we know of, I mean, I mean, shit, they're going to cover that up. It's part of the script, you just never, that's why he's hurt right now, is that he probably did some shit. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. I love you, Isaiah Pacheco. I love you, man. Get back healthy. I hope you do good soon. But I mean, let's take a look at some of these games. So the first game in the NFL, we can just go run through this really quick because these are a divisional game. I'll turn this more towards you so you can kind of see it. But the first divisional games, Thursday Night Football, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They travel to Atlanta to play Atlanta. And I love divisional games. And, yeah, there's rivalry games, shit like that. But divisional games, they mean something to both of these teams. Right now, I'm not sure Atlanta, really their offense is hit or miss. The defense is okay. Tampa Bay is their offense that's propelling them to win. Chris Godwin, who got drafted in fantasy football so late, has absolutely been killing it. He's been a stud in fantasy football. Mike Evans had a great first week, no show in the next two, and then he had another great week last week. He was on the injury report, but now I saw that he's healthy. But this game for me, it's going to be tough. I think I like the offense better in Tampa. Baker Mayfield's actually putting on the big show. Is putting on a show right now, man. So I would say I would go ahead and pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm aligned with what you're saying. Funny enough, Sam Darnold being first or tied for first or whatever in touchdowns. Baker Mayfield is second in the NFL for touchdowns, both coming from the Panthers. Who would have thought it, But it's crazy to see. You're 100% right. I was one of those guys that drafted Chris Godwin, down in the rounds at wide receiver. He's good for top 5 wide receiver right now, fantasy-wise. So, I still keep it consistent. I'm really looking forward to it. On the other hand, Atlanta, I like Atlanta. I picked Drake London early in my rounds, thinking that he had a lot of potential, especially with Kirk Cousins coming over. He's had a top-notch wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. Was hoping that Drake London could kind of fill that void right now. But it's been a little bit hit or miss. I think there's still some chemistry issues that they need to touch base on.
Fair.
Bijan Robinson getting a lot of touches. Production is going upward slowly, but I'd like to see them do a little bit more with their offensive scheme. At the end of the day, I think Tampa Bay is more of a seasoned team. They have a really good defense there as well, and their offensive chemistry is off the chart. So I think Tampa Bay takes it.
Yeah, I 100%. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is Kyle Pitts. I fucking hate you, dude. I was your biggest supporter, man. I'm so upset with you. I get you in a trade like, okay, he's Kirk Cousins. It's going to pick up.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't, dude. You scored me 0 fucking points last week, dude. You really pissed me off, to be fair. We're going to go ahead. The next game, I think this one's in, I don't know, is it in England? I think it's somewhere. It's in London. It is in London.
Yep.
And the Jets play the Minnesota Vikings. And hear me out on this. The week prior, the New York Jets looked fantastic. Aaron Rodgers was slinging it all over the field. And then they play the Denver Broncos and absolutely get shut out. They scored 9 points against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos defense is no joke.
Yeah.
But so is Minnesota. Minnesota's averaging, again, only giving up 15 points a game. I know the time difference, whatever, that's going to affect some players. But I'm going to be honest, I just don't think right now, something's not clicking with the Jets.
Yep.
And where it's the opposite with Minnesota. Everything is clicking for them.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I just saw a little excerpt of Garrett Wilson saying that they're just not switching things up on the offense. They're kind of doing the same thing. And sometimes, there's something to being a little bit predictable offensively. And with a defense like Minnesota that might be able to predict some of those things or at least build a good scheme for it, it's going to be tough to kind of get some offensive points going. At the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers regardless of how old he's getting. If he can find some consistency with Garrett Wilson, they might be able to do something. Breece Hall got to do a little bit more than he did last week. He was non-existent.
I think he had less than 4 points. Maybe 5 points, but not great. Not good.
Definitely not what you drafted him in the first round for at the at the very minimum. But I hate to say it, but I think Minnesota takes that one as well. It goes to 5-0.
5-0 Minnesota Vikings. Next game, it's typically good, but who knows? Baltimore, they whooped up on the Bills last week, but they play Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I mean, there's still not a lot of confidence that I have in Joe Burrow and the Bengals themselves.
Yep.
So, I'm going to roll with Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, and I'm going to have Baltimore winning this one. This is easy for me.
Yeah. I think, Baltimore's offense now with, Derrick Henry in there is very explosive. And he's just getting going right now. I think he ended up having 2 touchdowns last week, right? One rushing, one receiving touchdown. You still got Lamar Jackson, who's doing a little bit better about being able to balance out passing versus rushing still. But at the end of the day, you're 100% right. Joe Burrow is not where he needs to be. There was concerns early on in the season about his wrist still, kind of giving him some troubles. Yeah. Not to mention T. Higgins not being available up until last game. So I'd like to see them get a little bit more chemistry there. Jamar Chase is always open, but you got to be able to get him the ball.
Yeah, and it's funny with like Baltimore. Like I do see like the evolution of Lamar Jackson. He's still running the ball, of course. He's
Yeah,
still doing
of
his
course.
damn thing, but he's not throwing the ball to Mark Andrews.
Oh my
Talk
God.
about a bust. This was what maybe number 3 or number 4
Yep.
tight ends drafted in fantasy football, and he is an absolute dud. I think he's actually has more or less points than Kyle Pitts. Like that's that fucking bad. Like
bad.
it's pretty bad. Games that we skipped over: Carolina Panthers versus Chicago. Nobody cares. Chicago is probably going to win. Miami at New England. And I'm sorry, dude. If you have Tyreek Hill, who was most likely drafted in the first 3 picks.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill was, I think he went, he definitely went top 5 in our league.
Sure. Yep.
And then Jalen Waddle, I'm going to be honest, I have him in one of my leagues, and I was really damn close to cutting him. Like, I'm dead serious. He's in ESPN rankings. He's outside of the top 40. He's at like 43 or something like that. I mean, it's bad. That's how bad those offenses are. And you're not seeing HN pick up his thing because they're, do his thing because, I mean, the other teams are like, you can't throw. You have Snoop Huntley back there.
Yeah.
Trying to throw against us. Next game is your game. We will go over this really quickly. If there's Joe Flacco, who's 40-something years old, he's 8 days older than Anthony Richardson's mom.
It's crazy.
And I don't know. Anthony Richardson said they're going to be day to day, but they play Jacksonville at Jacksonville, and I'm going to be honest. This is their chance to win.
100%.
The Colts defense is not that good. They've been giving up tons of yards. Travis Etienne, I think Tank Bigsby was actually is listed as questionable as well. So, but I'm gonna go ahead, man. I'm gonna do you a solid right here and go ahead and pick the Jags beating the Colts.
You know what? I appreciate you saying that. I hope it's not a curse like last year. Every time that you pick the Jags, and then there's no chance that we can go 0-5. I'll have to make some personal phone calls to Shad Khan, maybe to Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, figure out what the heck's going on. I agree. This is our chance to really get in the win column and pick up some momentum, man. We've always had the Colts' number. We have a tendency to do really well against them. Joe Flacco coming in and playing, not to mention Jonathan Taylor being out with a high ankle sprain. I know right now he's not on the IR, but I believe he's week to week. Don't think he's going to play this week. Curious to see if Anthony Richardson does, but, we got to capitalize on this one.
You got to win. You guys are a 3-point favorite at home. You got to win. Actually, and out of the 4 games, I don't know. You've lost every home game so far this season.
Yeah,
Sorry, man. Yeah. Next game, I'm really excited about. The Buffalo Bills travel to Houston to play the Texans. Buffalo was playing great until they played, the Ravens.
Right.
Josh Allen is doing his damn thing. Obviously, he's always going to be in the MVP race for me. I feel like they were really concerned that they lost Stephon Diggs. Right. And Stephon Diggs has done actually pretty well with Houston.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be doing as well because of all the target sharing that he would have to do.
Right.
I think it's helped that Tank Dell has been hurt, but he had a touchdown, that crazy little run or pitch that he had for a touchdown. Stephon Diggs has done well, and I really think he's gonna go ham against his former team. And so I'm going with Houston. I got CJ Stroud on my team now.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. But I got Houston beating Buffalo in this one.
I'm curious to see the outcome of this one as well. I think it's going to be a really good game. One thing about Buffalo this season that I really didn't expect because of the loss of Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, right? Having Keon Coleman coming in. You got Khalil Shakir that's, doing a couple things there with Buffalo, but was really seeing how much fun they're having. They're spreading the ball out. Got a lot of people getting some receiving yards. James Cook playing pretty good early on. Josh Allen just being the perfect game manager. As far as QB goes. With that being said, CJ Stroud and Nico Collins have an insane connection. Chemistry is off the charts. Tank Dell being out, Stephon Diggs getting a little bit more opportunity, but Nico Collins is just a stud wide receiver, tall, lanky, able to get the ball possession receiver. Went for over 120 yards last week. Like, there's nothing more that you can ask from him for a wide receiver.
He's averaging more than 20 fantasy football points this season right now per game. That's fucking wild. Next game, we're just going to make it really quick.
Yep.
Vegas, Broncos. Give me the Broncos. I'm not going. No, and especially, we don't know if Max Crosby's going to play. Right. Devontae Adams sure as hell ain't going to play. Defense for the Broncos have been doing well, so I'm going to go Broncos. I'm not picking the goddamn Raiders. No chance. Yeah. Sorry, Tim. Ain't going to happen.
Sorry, Tim. No way. A lot of injuries on the injury report for the Las Vegas Raiders, so Broncos.
Speaking of injuries, CMC, he got top 2 drafted in our fantasy league. Yeah. He's, who knows when he's coming back. and he's not getting any younger. Didn't they say it was in both knees right now? Like, it's, oh, shit, man. I mean, that sucks. Hopefully you drafted or you picked up Jordan Mason, and if you didn't pick up Jordan Mason, like, it's probably not looking too well for you. But to play the Cardinals, and at first I was really high on the Cardinals. I thought they were going to really get their shit together and do well. But, I mean, sometimes they look really, really stinking bad. So it's at home for San Fran. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Niners on this one.
Oh, yeah, I think the Niners are, fortunately enough, having Jordan Mason, they're playing, just fine without him. Jordan Mason getting like 20-plus touches per game, rushing attempt. Kyler Murray looked, awful last week. So I think the Niners, not only their offense, but defense has enough to take them.
Fred Warner is one of the best middle linebackers I've seen in my lifetime. He is so damn good. He's ferocious, first of all, but he is so good at covering the passing plays. I think he had a pick 6 last week. That shit was insane. Next matchup, I think is going to be an easy win for the Green Bay Packers. They play the Los Angeles Rams, but the Rams are just so beat up. If Jordan Love cannot turn the ball over 3 times, and just do his thing that he did last week, it's going to be an easy win for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously Matthew Stafford getting a little older, doesn't have Cooper Kupp, doesn't have Puka Nacua, a rookie wide receiver that is out there trying to make things happen for him. Can't, count out Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams is doing Kyren Williams things. Jordan Love, honestly, even if he does throw 3 picks, he's just, I hope he continues to skyrocket up as far as production goes. I got Jaden Reed on my team, so I hope he throws a couple of touchdowns to Jaden Reed.
Well, and it's funny with Kyren Williams, I'm just going to touch on this really quick, is that he is their offense.
Yep.
And again, if you have him in fantasy football, you're not mad at it. He's getting all the touches that he can possibly get. He's actually averaging 20 points per game. I mean, I don't have the exact number, but he's averaging at least 20 points fantasy football-wise in a standard PPR league. The next matchup here, go Hawks. The New York Giants travel to Seattle. And Seattle, they're going to get that nasty taste after they're losing Monday Night Football. And they played well, but they had their whole defensive line out. They had their starting middle linebacker out, some outside linebackers out, and they still played really well against the Lions. So I think this one's going to be a cakewalk for Geno Smith and the Seahawks.
Yeah, agreed. I think Geno Smith just has an amazing fastball. He's getting out the ball really quickly. He has a good sense of, where his receivers are at. I thought it ended up being like kind of a mini shootout. It's probably the closest blowout game that I've seen.
It was fun. It was fun to watch.
It's probably one of my top favorite games so far this season, hands down. I think it was a really good game to watch. New York, Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones continue to get some, chemistry together. Malik Neighbors is a stud, going to be a great receiver in this league for a long time. If they can put 2 halves of football together, they might be able to make a run towards it, but Seattle is going to take the cake on.
Malik Neighbors is number 5 in total fantasy football points. Yeah. Wow. Wild. And again, I truly feel he's going to waste his talent away as long as he's in New York. I'm sorry, man. I just don't see it. I mean, he is an absolute baller, but it's Daniel Jones. He's a little bit better than Trevor Lawrence, but
man.
I went there.
I hate the comparisons, but yeah, I mean, it really depends. And Malik Neighbors could be a Saquon Barkley 2.0 in New York,
Come on.
Sorry, Giants fans.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, it's real bad. Sorry, guys. Next matchup, Sunday Night Football. Dallas travels to Pittsburgh. Who do you got in that game?
I think that it's crazy to see that Pittsburgh was the first 3-0 team this season so far, with Justin Fields, taking the helm with Russ out. I think Russ is starting to pick up a little bit more, ramping up activities. So I assume that we're going to see him here soon enough. He doesn't get traded over for all that, the compensation that he got if he's not going to be playing at some point. Pittsburgh defense, though, there's nothing wrong that you can say about it. They got some stud, players on defense, TJ Watt, Joey Porter Jr., Minkah Fitzpatrick, got stud players over there.
Studs.
Dallas, has been somewhat fun to watch this season so far for the games that I have seen. CeeDee Lamb, no stopping him. He's going to do what he does. Running game can use a little bit of a change up. I know that they're thinking about putting Rico Dowdle up a little bit more, seeing how he goes. He's finally getting his time to shine. I'm going to say that Dallas is going to take this one, but I think it's going to be a close matchup.
And then I think we finally disagree on this one here, and I'm happy about that, to be fair. But Dallas, I don't think Parsons is going to play, and I don't think Lawrence is going to play. I don't think they have the 2 edge rushers.
Forgot about that.
And that's a big factor.
Yes.
Yeah, not only in the pass rush game, but in Fields' ability to rush, to get rushing yards.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Pittsburgh at home. And let's be honest right now. Okay, let's say Pittsburgh wins this game. And Fields does what he does. Like, he's been playing decent. He's been playing pretty good.
Yeah.
And last week it picked up, even though they lost. does Russell Wilson play? Like, if you're 4-1 with Fields right now, that's doing decent. Like, do you even bother with Russell Wilson? Because like you said, he's making a lot of money,
Right.
but it's not from Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Pittsburgh's only paying him like $1-2 million. Denver's still paying that fucking contract. So like, I don't know, like, let it ride. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because Russell Wilson, he broke.
Yeah.
He is broke, son.
That's a logical choice, obviously, is to keep running it with Justin Fields. But, preseason up until the injury designation for Russell Wilson was them talking about, Russ being the guy, Russ being the starter. I think, illogically, if you start Russ, it's going to be bad for the team. There'd be chemistry issues that would happen. But, I mean, it's all going to be up to Mike Tomlin and see where we go.
You're not wrong. Ah, man. It's crazy. Like I did get Justin Fields in another league, and he won me that week, like straight up.
Crazy.
I had Jordan Love. He didn't do good. I picked up Derek Carr. That was a week he didn't do shit, and then I finally get Justin Fields, and I get back on track. So I'm like, I hope he keeps rolling. I'll let it ride.
Yeah.
So before we end our show, we are gonna go over the Show Me Some TDs Fantasy Football League. We do have two new members. We mentioned Tim, who's a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
We have a new guy named Zach as well. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
2 new members. Our other members, they're just taking a break. Next year we may expand, take them back. Well, at least one of them, and you know who the other one is not.
Yeah.
But sorry, buddy, it is what it is. But it's cool. Like, it was really awesome to find people that are like Zach, for example.
Yeah.
He's all over making trades and talking smack in the group chat.
Yep.
And that's really what it's about. It's super fun to have those types of people in the league, and then having a dude like Tim who's so passionate about, even though it is the Raiders, but he's so passionate about football. And so it's cool to have those people because it really fits in the group. But it's crazy. Our last year's champion, the Chalupa Batman team, James right now, it's funny. So this is the 11th season of this league.
Yeah.
James, he hasn't won 3 yet. Or maybe he has won 3.
Yeah.
I think he has won 3 championships.
Wow.
But he's also been the last place player 2 times.
That's crazy.
So like, this is going to be his year because he started off the season. He is 0-4 right now.
Wow.
The only other person that's 0-4 in our league is Taco. And Taco, he's been doing some troll ass shit. Like, he drafted Pat Mahomes in the first round. Troll move right there. Second round, he drafted Travis Kelce. I mean, it is what it is. Taco's going to do his thing, but it's been a while since Taco has been 0-4. But, like he said, he's been 0-6 at one point and actually made the playoffs one year.
Right.
You just never know.
Yeah.
And so, like, last year we had a guy that started out 7-0 and then lost the next 7 straight weeks.
Yep.
You never know in fantasy football. But it is wild to have 2 players 0-4 right now. I don't think like we've had that. We've had, people be at 500, a lot of people be at 500, but having those 2 dudes at 0-4, it's pretty nice. But that also means we have 2 players that are undefeated. And it is the Chris and Nick, man, you freaking bums.
Hey, you guys.
I hate you guys. They're literally at home stroking each other's egos. Just to be fair, they're egos.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably having beers, cheersing every fucking Sunday, and their teams are absolutely kicking ass. I mean, Chris had a crazy amount of points last week, man.
161?
161, you sons of bitches. I can't wait for one of you guys to lose. Then I'm going to come over. And then I'm like, hey, it's me, you guys. Yeah. And you sons of bitches, I hope one of you guys loses this week. But I don't see it right now for Nick. Nick plays Tim, and right now he's projected to win pretty significantly. Yeah. Nick's team is really good, really solid. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. So he does have Kyler Murray on his team. Fantasy football-wise, not bad. But then he's got Kyron Williams, who's been his superstar this year. Yep. Kenneth Walker is back with 3 rushing touchdowns. He has Justin Jefferson on his team. He's got Malik Neighbors. I mean, his team is absolutely stacked. He picked up Scary Terry. I dropped him on the waiver wire. He picked up Scary Terry, and his team looks really fucking good. So comparatively to Tim's team, which isn't terrible, but it's not that great compared. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Nick in this one. Sorry, son of a bitch, man. You're about to go to 5-0. That pisses me off, but it is what it is.
It pisses me off too, man. And to be fair, Tim, losing out on CMC, picking up Jordan Mason was a good pickup there, but now he's
solid.
Rashee Rice for the year. or for the year, right? So he's taking a big hit on that. His bench isn't looking too great in regards to his team.
Now, this is a big matchup. This one's a really big matchup. It is the Mr. Tacos neighborhood versus the Dicker Down, baby. Dicker Downs, man. Did you get a new kicker, by the way?
I did get a new kicker.
Cameron Dicker, the kicker, ain't doing a goddamn thing. So, I had to switch up my team name. I wanted Puka Nacua this year really bad, but I didn't get him. But nonetheless, your team versus Taco, there's a chance that you and Taco next week have the same record at 1-4.
Hey man, you don't say that, okay? You don't wish that evil on me. Look, I love Taco. He's a great guy. We're sitting here at his house right now, letting us do this podcast together and stuff like that, which is a great time. But at the end of the day, I cannot be the first team that he beats to be 1-4. Granted, I'm 1-3 right now. It's not off to the best start. I want to say similar to last year, which I hate to say because for the record, I'm in 3 leagues this year. I am 4-0 in my other 2 leagues. This is the only league in which I continue to lose starting off. But, I've made a couple moves. This week is going to be particularly pretty tough for me because I have about 4 players or 5 players that are on a bye week, including Saquon Barkley, my starting running back, and then Jonathan Taylor with that high ankle sprain. So I really got to move some people around and see what I can make happen. But I have confidence that, I'm gonna knock on some wood here, and I'm going to wish I'm going to wish and hope that some of these receivers go for a couple touchdowns each, and we can get to where we need to be.
And it sucks because you do have some quality running backs. Like, you have J.K. Dobbins. You have Tony Pollard that's been doing pretty well. But they're on bye weeks. And then again, Jonathan Taylor, high ankle sprain. Who knows? Look, I'm going to be honest. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and pick Taco getting his first win of the season, man.
This guy.
Sorry, man. At least I picked the Jags.
Yeah.
The Jags are going to win,
Yeah, that's true.
but so is Taco. Taco's going to get the win here. So this next matchup here, it is the battle of undefeated versus the winless. I mean, I just don't see it. I don't see it with James's team.
Yeah.
He's got Alexander Madison as his number 1 running back right now. Well, I guess Travis Etienne, but he is questionable.
Right.
And then he is that guy that picked Tyreek Hill that can't do a goddamn thing. DK Metcalf has been fine, but then when you scroll over to Chris's team, and it's funny because Austin Eckler really hasn't done a goddamn thing.
Right.
But then he picks up out of nowhere at the last minute DeAndre Swift, and Swift absolutely gets Swifty last week.
Man.
I mean, he put up crazy, stupid numbers. Yeah. He also has Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase. I think Chalupa Batman's about to go 0-5, and Chris. So I have both of these fuckers staying undefeated this week, man, and that sucks. But I do see that happening. I think Chris is going to get the win in this one.
Yeah, no complaints from me. Nothing to add on there.
Nico Collins, god damn, what a squad.
Yeah, trade me Nico Collins, Chris. I'm waiting on that, man. But yeah, he's gonna win. Go 5-0 this week, and it's gonna suck to see for Chalupa Batman.
Now, who did we miss? I think we did skip one, didn't we? Let's see. Yep. So my matchup here, I guess we skipped a couple matchups, right? My matchup, I played Daniel, and right now I'm getting hit with the same thing. Bye weeks. C.J. Stroud, Aaron Jones.
Handout.
Yeah. I mean, just straight up, man. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is my absolute favorite player. I absolutely love that guy. I changed my new team name to Ooh Baby, I Like It Raw.
Yeah,
saying it's a great name. I love that name. But Garrett Wilson hasn't done really much. Getting him in a trade hasn't really done much. Mike Evans, he was listed as questionable, but I think it was more like a veteran rest thing because he didn't practice on Monday. Mm-hmm. But it's a short week. They play Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But and Daniel's team is great. Like if he is Josh Allen, who's scoring easy 20 points. Kamara is actually the number 1 player in fantasy football with 106 points. The next closest person is Saquon Barkley with 98. Jaden Daniels, absolute rookie of the year right now. Man, super big surprise. Yeah. He's number 3 in all of fantasy football. But I mean, his team is pretty stacked. Stephon Diggs has done well. So, of course, I'm going to pick me. I mean, fuck that, Daniel, as you would say. Fuck you, man. That's it. Straight up, I'm going to pick me. Sorry.
I'm going to be, a little petty.
Do it.
Do it. I'm going to pick Daniel. Now, here's the thing. I want to touch base on this. I know it's kind of been something that we've been talking about since the beginning of the season. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but, right after the draft, trading a couple players, Daniel bet on himself. He had Saquon Barkley. He had Jonathan Taylor. Trades it to one of our league mates for Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry. And boy, has it paid off for him. I was a little hesitant on this at first. I was talking a lot of crap. I was saying, hey, why would you do that? You had 2 top 5 running backs in your team, but right now, Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry are the 2 top 5 running backs. Wow. Josh Jacobs is kind of spotty, hit or miss there. But man, if Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara keep playing how they are, there's a good chance that he goes to the championship.
When they made that trade at our draft party, looking at it, you're like, are you sure you were at our draft party and not a Diddy party, man? Like, straight up baby oil all over that shit.
Sure I saw some baby oil.
I'm just saying, man, like, Cade, you do it, dog. You just straight up, this happens. But somehow, Daniel's actually gotten the better. And you're going to say, yeah, I told you it was a fair trade. Yeah. Bullshit. Looking at it at paper at the start of the season, no, it wasn't. Not one person in their right mind that plays fantasy football was like, yep, good trade, solid trade.
Yep.
No, didn't happen. The last matchup here, I like this matchup a lot because Zach is actually a referral from Cade. We're like, hey, man, we need a new person. He's like, I got this dude. You're going to love him. Bring him to the league. So they're friends. They play each other. Right now, Cade's projected to win. But, I mean, his team is a little sketchy to me. I mean, he tries to trade these players so much. He has Bijan Robinson. He has James Conner, who I think is going to do just fine. And then CeeDee Lamb, who's a stud. And then he's got the stack with Dak Prescott.
Yep.
Now, Zach's team, he drafted Caleb Williams and thought he was going to be a starter. Let's just be fair. That's what he thought was going to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
And now Caleb, I think, is in free agency or somebody picked him up and it's on his bench. I think it's on Chris's bench.
Yeah.
Chris has got like 3 quarterbacks and is still undefeated.
Yeah.
But Justin Fields against Dallas, again, I like that matchup. Breece Hall against Minnesota. Minnesota is a really tough defense.
Yep.
And then, another tough matchup for Brian Robinson playing against Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is pretty solid. And then, just to cap it off even more, Marvin Harrison plays the 49ers. So I hate picking Cade to win, but I do think Cade's going to win this matchup.
Yeah, I think you make great cases for the matches that they have. I hate to say it, but Zach just has tough matchups against the teams that his players are playing against. You really got to have things go right in all cases here. It looks like it's an uphill battle from where I'm sitting at. But, I'm looking for a lot of crap talk. I'm looking for a lot of, back and forth. Like Cade would say, I'm looking for a lot of belt to ass. So we'll see.
Belt to ass. Anyway, I really appreciate this, man. Thank you for coming out. I know you got to go get dinner. It's a long-ass drive. I do want to give another shout-out to our good buddy who I'm kind of pissed off, but Daniel, I play you this week, so I say this with a grain of salt, but again, you are a sponsor. If your car is fucked up and it's broken, if it don't look good, if it's wrecked, he will get your car looking fresh.
Yep.
Happy Customs LLC, our sponsor, man. We appreciate that. They'll get a t-shirt, Happy Customs, man. I've made him a logo. I'm going to throw that up there, shit like that. It's really cool. We appreciate that. I have this microphone because of Happy Customs LLC. So appreciate that. I will beat you this week. So it is what it is. But, again, thank you for being here. We will be back next week. I'm hopefully on Tuesday. Yep. We'll see how it works. We'll make it happen. So stay tuned for that. You could have been anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with Ed Winnan and me, Stevie V, the commissioner of the Show Me Some TDs Fantasy Football League.
My God.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for watching Show Me Some TDs. Make sure you hit the download, like, and subscribe button and stay tuned for more Show Me Some TDs.